Today I want to share with you a step-by-step blueprint that you can use to apply interval theory to your own compositions. Honestly, this is stuff that I never learned at any music school. On the other hand, it is so practical and leads to fantastic results that I want you to know this. That is why I'm doing this particular video. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the technique. Here we go. I picked those notes. So that are all of the notes from my structure above, like scale tones 3, -7, 9, 11 plus, and a 13. And then I simply applied position change. So I grabbed my lowest note, put it on top. My lowest note, put it on top. My lowest note, and so on. And then I built these interval formulas. And we count them from the lowest note in the structure to the next higher one. And so you continue. So this leads me to a 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. That's this guy. And we have a different structure for all of these position changes, obviously, since we have 5 different positions. And now let's use these interval formulas a little bit to write some music, because I guarantee nobody out there would even think about this being a starting point. The second part is that's a chord structure. So what we do when we use these interval formulas as part of how we harmonize a line, we create chord structures all the time. Just for the sake of keeping it simple, let's start with a chromatic line. So for 8 bars, I picked my chromatic line right here, okay? Nothing really special, nothing dramatic. I started with picking some of these interval formulas randomly, and I exchanged some of them as I listened back to the result. I always stick to one of those structures from above. I'm not altering any note, I'm not leaving the concept, although I could have left this concept at any time. You can do whatever you want, basically. I would just listen back to these things and trust your ears. And then you can bring in logic and go from there, but I would go emotionally first. So I just tried some of these combinations here, and all of those structures appear at some point up here. When we harmonize this line, this chromatic line, be sure to read these structures in reverse and downwards, which means we built those guys from bottom to top. Now we don't have the bottom note, we only have the top note. That means from this guy here, you want to go down by 4. So from D going down by 4, that's a B flat. Then from the B flat, we go down by 1, that's an A. Then we go down by 3, that's an F sharp. And we go down by 2, that's the E. This is exactly this guy here, going down to B flat, to A, to F sharp, to E. So this is how you get to these structures. And they look absolutely wild. I know, I'm telling you also how we can tame them very elegantly. So the reason why those vertical structures sound a bit harsh is because of the one interval being present in all of those structures. And this one interval gets created between scale tones 13 and -7. And this creates a vertical problem at some point. Yes, so be careful with that. So now that we already know what the problem is the ones in here. Do not stop right here because your ear tells you this is not usable. That is not true. Well, you have to know whenever you hit a 1 vertically, it's a harsh interval. But something beautiful happens when you translate this vertical relation to a horizontal relation. And that's exactly what I'm doing down here. So all of those 1s in here, here it appears between the A and B flat. Guess what? I have a returning tone. Here it appears between the F sharp and G. Guess what? I'm having a returning tone. Here I have something like a diatonic passing tone. And this is how you can control the harshness. Let me play you this, and out of a sudden, this will sound way better to your ears. Way better, although we haven't changed the notes. all of them stayed completely the same. Yeah, sounds way better. And guess what? Did you recognize our little chromatic line up here? D going to D sharp. That's the repetition of the same note. And harmonically, here's the E, the F. That's the G flat, the G. That's the A flat, the natural A. That's still our chromatic line in here. This is really beautiful. Let's write a little bass line down here. I'm keeping it very simple. I'm just looking at my structures up here, and I'm deciding mostly on the interval 5. So in here, let me make this a bit bigger here. I'm getting older. So in here we have the B and the F sharp. That's a 5. Oh, great. So then do we have another 5 in here? Well, yes, the F sharp against the C sharp. This would be another potential root tone in here. So I would look at those intervals and then I would decide on one of those guys, because this really brings in a very strong root tone that is also present in the treble structure right here. So it gives really support to your treble, like the B right here, the A flat right here. The C right here is actually not present in the upper structure, but this was easy to determine because I wanted to have scale tone -3 and this -7, so to speak, with a chromatic alteration. And then this guy, again, the B flat is in here, the F is in here. So I'm mainly doubling one of the notes of the upper structure. And let me play you this right now. And pay attention to this chromatic line on top, because this is everything else than mainstream writing. I'm just amazed how easy you can transform these structures into some very musical things. Just use some, strings as a pad up here. You can even go into open harmony, have a little piano in the lower register, and there you go. Have a nice female singer, and off you are. I really want you to take some of these devices and ideas and turn them into action. You have to try it for your own. Figure out if that comes close to your own voice musically, because I guarantee it will make your writing different. Now that you know how to write these structures, what holds you back? What holds you back? I don't know. This is really just a minor fraction of what we go into at the Academy. So if you are intrigued by these techniques and the sound that you can create just by applying those techniques, absolutely check out the website. That comes in 1, 2, 3, 2, 1.